Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Friday, August 24th, 2018. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's baseball games, look ahead to today's slate of games, Little League World Series, go over the two semifinal games from yesterday, and go over the two championship games from the U.S. and from the International tomorrow. And I'll discuss some players being claimed on waivers and go over some NFL preseason action from last night as well. All right, baseball. Only 9 games were played yesterday. A lot of teams were traveling and whatnot. The Phillies defeated the Nationals 2-0 as they improved to 69-58. Washington drops to 64-64. Aaron Nola improves to 15-3. Max Scherzer drops to 16-6. Penny Sheck gets his 4th save of the year. The Red Sox defeated the Indians 7-0 as they improved to 90-39. Cleveland drops to 73-54. David Price improves to 14-6. Adam Plutko drops to 4-4. The Tigers defeated the White Sox 7-2 as they improved to 53-75. The White Sox dropped to 48-79. Matt Boyd improves to 8-11. James Shields drops to 5-15. The Giants defeated the Mets 3-1 as they improved to 63-66. The Mets dropped to 56-71. Madison Bumgarner improves to 5-5. Jacob deGrom drops to 8-8. Will Smith gets his 11th save of the year. The Rockies defeated the Padres 4-3 on a walk-off home run by Ian Desmond. The Rocks improved to 70-57. The Pods dropped to 50-80. Chris Rusin improves to 1-2. Kirby Yates drops to 4-3. The Braves defeated the Marlins 5-0 as they improved to 72-55. Miami drops to 51-78. Sean Newcomb improves to 11-6. Alicia Hernandez drops to 2-7. The Rays defeated the Royals 4-3 as they improved to 67-61. The Royals dropped to 38-90. Sergio Romo improves to 3-3. Brian Flynn drops to 3-5. The game ended on a throwing error on Kevin Kiermaier's bases loaded grounder in the 9th inning, and that's how the Rays ended up with the win. The Cubs defeated the Reds 7-1 as they improved to 73-53. The Reds dropped to 56-72. Cole Hamels improves to 4-0. Anthony DeSclafani drops to 6-4. The Twins defeated the Athletics 6-4 as they improved to 61-66. The A's dropped to 76-52. Alan Boosnitz improves to 4-0. Trevor Cahill drops to 5-3. Trevor Hildenberger gets his 4th save of the year. Today's games, in about an hour from now, you have the Reds and the Cubs from Wrigley Field. Matt Harvey going up against Alec Mills. Speaking of Harvey, we'll get more into him in a minute. He might not even be making the start. 7 o'clock, Yankees-Orioles. CC Sabathia coming off the disabled list against Alex Cobb, who's pitched better of late. Phillies-Blue Jays. Jake Arrieta and Ryan Borucki. White Sox-Tigers. Reynaldo Lopez and Michael Fulmer. Fulmer coming off the DL. Nationals-Mets. Jeffrey Rodriguez and Jason Vargas. Braves-Marlins. Mike Falta-Units and Dan Straley. Red Sox-Rays. Hector Velasquez and Diego Castillo. Looks like Castillo will be your opener tonight. 8 o'clock, Pirates-Brewers. Joe Musgrove and Wade Miley. Athletics-Twins. Sean Manaea and Jake Odorizzi. Indians-Royals at 8:15. Mike Clevenger and Brad Keller. 8:40, Cardinals-Rockies. That's going to be a fun series down in Coors Field. Miles Mikolas and Antonio Senzatella. Mariners Diamondbacks at 9:40. Erasmo Ramirez and Zach Godley, so two of the teams fighting for playoff positioning going up against each other in an interleague series. At 10 o'clock, you have the Astros and the Angels. Dallas Keuchel and Andrew Heaney. Padres Dodgers. Clayton Richard and Rich Hill. And 10:15, Rangers Giants. Drew Hutchinson and Derek Rodriguez. That's it for Major League Baseball. Little League World Series. 2 elimination games yesterday took place. In the United States bracket, Georgia defeated New York 7-3 as Georgia moves on to take on Hawaii in the U.S. Championship game, which will be played tomorrow. International bracket, Japan defeated Puerto Rico 1-0 to advance to the International Championship game to take on South Korea. So your Final Four is Hawaii and Georgia in the U.S. and South Korea and Japan in the International. I'll pick those games on tomorrow's podcast. Back to Major League Baseball, Matt Harvey was claimed on waivers by the Milwaukee Brewers. They have a short period of time to make a trade with the Brewers. We'll see if the Brewers pull this off. They're in need of starting pitching. Jimmy Nelson isn't coming back this season for the Brewers, so they have a need in their rotation. Although their rotation has held their own this season and hasn't really been a weakness for Milwaukee, although they need it to be better if they want to make the playoffs. Andrew McCutchen also cleared waivers. We'll see who trades for him. I think Cleveland's in play for him. A buddy of mine on Twitter suggested Oakland. That would be a nice fit because they've had some outfield issues this season. And obviously the Yankees, who may not see Aaron Judge again this season. So there are three obvious candidates for Andrew McCutchen in the American League. So the waiver deadline is a week from today. So it's going to be interesting to see who ends up getting claimed off of waivers and getting traded. I already mentioned Harvey and McCutchen. Nationals traded away Daniel Murphy and Matt Adams. I believe Mark Reynolds was claimed on waivers by the Atlanta Braves. I don't know if there was a trade worked out or not. I don't think there was. So keep an eye on that. NFL preseason last night. What a weird score for an NFL preseason game. The Browns defeated the Eagles by a score of 5-0. There was a safety and a field goal in this game. Baker Mayfield, 8 for 12, 76 yards, and an interception. Tyrod Taylor, 11 for 16, 65 yards. Nick Foles did not look great at all. 13 for 17, 127 yards, 2 picks. With a rating of 57.4, he has not had a good preseason. Nate Sudfeld, 11 for 21, 72 yards. This was just an ugly preseason game all around. We have some preseason games tonight. You have the Giants and the Jets and the annual Snoopy Bowl that takes place every preseason. Odell Beckham Jr. and Saquon Barkley will not be playing, although Barkley's back at practice. But I just think they're keeping him out for precautionary reasons. And Odell Beckham Jr., same thing. He's coming off of his injury from last year. But the good news on him is that him and the Giants are moving closer towards an extension, which has to be done before the season. And ESPN's Jordan Raanan reported that there's optimism that a deal will get done. So that is great news for the New York Football Giants. And then for the Jets tonight, Teddy Bridgewater and Sam Darnold. We'll see who plays well between those two. I don't think Josh McCown has a chance to be the Week 1 starter unless one of those two get hurt. I think it should be Darnold. And I think they should showcase Teddy Bridgewater a little bit in these next two games to see if they can get a third or a fourth round pick. There's talk that they might get a first or a second for him. If whoever does that, that's an absolute overpay. But if I'm a team like the Denver Broncos, I would give up maybe a third and a fourth for Teddy Bridgewater. And there's talk about Jacksonville making a move for him, but I don't think they would because they seem committed financially to Blake Bortles. But if I'm the Denver Broncos, that's the obvious fit for Bridgewater. Or even the Buffalo Bills with A.J. McCarron hurt. Maybe they'll be in play for him too. And I already just said the Denver Broncos, they face the Redskins tonight. Storylines for this game is Chad Kelly. He's looked very good in the preseason, and I wouldn't rule out the possibility that he is their Week 1 starter over Case Keenum, who has struggled in the preseason. and Paxton Lynch, who's a complete bust at this point of his career. You have the Patriots and the Panthers. Tom Brady's looked like himself in the preseason. And Cam Newton will probably play tonight as well. Lions, Buccaneers, Matthew Stafford and Jameis Winston and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Kerryon Johnson's looked good in the preseason. This game's actually going to be on TV. It'll be on CBS. But not CBS in New York because that will be the Jets and the Giants, obviously. But Lions, Buccaneers will be on CBS and all other TV markets. You have the Seahawks and the Vikings. So two of the presumptive good NFC teams going head-to-head. Although a lot of people don't think the Seahawks are going to be good. I think there's a chance they're a contender this year because there's like no pressure on them and all the pressure's on the 49ers and the Rams in that division. And then the Vikings, obviously, the NFC North favorites. Kirk Cousins had one good preseason game, one bad preseason game. I'm interested to see how he looks. Packers, Raiders, 10:30 on NFL Network. I'm sure Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers will both play. Rodgers has looked like himself in that game against the Steelers. And Derek Carr's looked pretty good as well. And then there's more preseason games tomorrow that I'll get into on tomorrow's podcast. And that's it for today's podcast. As I mentioned, I'll be back tomorrow recapping the preseason from tonight, looking ahead to tomorrow's preseason games. Talk about baseball games and look ahead to tomorrow's baseball games. I'll pick the Little League World Series games that will lead you to the Little League World Series championship game. And I'll also do my Week 0 college football picks, which are only going to be 4 games. Keep an eye out for my college football predictions podcast, which is almost done. And one last thing before we go, WNBA playoffs. 2 games last night, second round, the Mystics defeated the Sparks 96-64. What a huge win for the Mystics. Elena Deladon, 19 points, 12 rebounds. Candace Parker, 16 points, 8 rebounds. I forgot to make picks for these games yesterday. I took the Mystics and the Mercury, so that's a 2-0 for me. 4-0 in the WNBA playoffs. I'll pick the semifinals on Sunday's podcast in those series, because don't forget the semifinals are best of 5 now, as well as the WNBA finals. And the Mercury defeated the Sun 96-86. Brittany Griner, 27 points in the win. Courtney Williams, 27 in defeat. The Sun had a great year. There's a team on the rise. And a disappointing season for the Los Angeles Sparks, who lost in the second round. And the Mercury are on to the semifinals. And they're, I think, a legit favorite to go to the WNBA finals now, with the Sparks and the Lynx both eliminated from the WNBA playoffs. So we'll see a new champion within the next couple weeks, so that's pretty cool. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.